Hi, I'm Elizabeth Jones, and welcome to this video on Study to Engage Your Brain. We want the information we study to find its way into our long-term memory. And I'm here to discuss misconceptions about how we study, the right way to do it, and to leave you with some suggestions on how you can teach your students or children to learn more effectively. The source for the information I present is a book titled Make It Stick: The Science of Successful Learning by Peter Brown and others. The data I present comes from their years of research and are not my opinion. After this video, you will be able to explain why current popular methods of study are unproductive, explain the benefits of and list examples of retrieval, spacing, and interleave practice, and construct courses and study methods using a variety of researched and proven learning methods to enhance long-term retrieval. It turns out that many learning methods that teachers and students have been using don't help us as much as we think. We tend to believe that if we read something multiple times, we're going to remember it. However, research shows us that that just isn't true. Most of us have a hard time realizing when we're learning well. We tend to like the study strategies that seem quicker and easier, but when we use those easy study methods, whatever gains we think we've made haven't made it into our long-term memory. Our bad judgment creates an illusion that we're mastering the information we've studied. The most popular but least productive learning strategies are rereading information, highlighting, and mass practice. Mass practice is a repetitive way of studying, reading, and reviewing information over and over to try and memorize it, such as cramming for a test. These study methods are essentially a lost cause because cramming doesn't help us retain that information so we can recall it later when we really need it. Listen to the following question and then pause the video to consider your answer. The question is, do you believe your students use study methods that maximize information retention and retrieval? When you've finished, press play to continue. There is no right or wrong answer here, but what is important is that you're thinking about how your students learn and study. In order to gain knowledge, we have to work hard and suffer setbacks. Meaningful learning happens when we have to make an effort, and that includes when we make errors and have to fix them. It's discouraging to find out that the number one study strategy, rereading textbooks, is essentially unsuccessful. There are three concerns when it comes to rereading texts to study. Number one, it takes a lot of time. Two, rereading doesn't help information get to our long-term memory. And three, it deceives us into thinking we have a good grasp or mastery of the content when in fact we don't. A better learning strategy is retrieval practice, which involves recalling facts, concepts, or events from memory. The act of retrieving or pulling information out strengthens our memory and prevents forgetting. Using flashcards is an example of retrieval practice. Spaced out practice is important to retain information. Getting rusty between study sessions can lead to more challenging retrieval and a less productive feeling. However, the effort results in longer lasting learning. Make sure to leave time to forget to help retain information for the long run. Here you see a sample schedule of spaced practice. Pause the video if you need more time to review the picture, and then press play when you're ready to proceed. When you try to solve a problem independently before being told how to solve it, you're more likely to learn, even if you answer wrong. But good feedback is required. The process of testing helps calibrate our judgment about what we've learned. When we use testing to identify and correct our weaknesses, we build a stronger foundation for mastering topics. Recognizing the fundamental principles or rules that differentiate types of problems helps us become more successful at picking the right answer when we're in unfamiliar situations. Practice that is interleaved or varied is more effective at acquiring the skill than blocked or massed practice. Interleaving means alternating between different but related topics. Listen to the following question and pause the video to consider your answer. The question is, why is it important to allow time to pass between study sessions when applying spaced practice? When you're ready, press play to continue. The answer is that spaced practice requires time to pass between study sessions to allow learners to forget a little bit of information. Forgetting forces students to work harder and makes learning more difficult, which has been proven to enhance long-term learning. Retrieval practice is different from assessments. Despite its appearance, it's not a tool for measuring or grading, it's strictly a learning strategy. If you're going to be assessed on basic recall of facts, then practice to retrieve those facts. Conversely, if your test is going to require higher order thinking, then make sure you use higher order questions during retrieval practice. There are a variety of ways to use retrieval practice, and if you'd like more information on it, please see the recommended sources slide at the end of this video. Spacing out learning sessions will help you learn more information and retain it longer. Here are some suggestions. 1. Design a spaced out schedule where you plan for upcoming quizzes and exams. 2. Complete the study sessions at regular intervals. The sessions don't have to be long and they don't need to cover all the material in each session. Divide the information up between sessions. Pause the video to take a moment to review the sample space study schedule on this slide. When you're ready to continue, press play. Use low or no stakes pretests and give quizzes during and immediately after learning new material to benefit retention and retrieval. Assessments show what learners know, what they don't know, and the areas they need to improve upon. Feedback is vital. Make sure each correct answer is revealed and you have a discussion about why it is the correct answer. Sometimes it may even be necessary to explain why the wrong answers are wrong as well. Please see the recommended sources slide at the end of this video for more information on how to use assessments to strengthen material retention. Interleaving is studying different items within the same topic. For instance, if you're studying fractions, you can mix up adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing them instead of focusing on block practice, which would be working on only adding fractions and then only subtracting fractions and so on. Mixing the different types of problems might slow learners down for the first session or two, but it will help learners identify and be able to solve those types of problems quicker and easier in the future. Listen to the following question and then pause the video to consider your answer. True or false? We do not learn when we take quizzes or tests and get answers wrong. When you're ready, press play to continue. The answer is false. We learn whether we get answers right or wrong. However, feedback is essential to that learning process. Educators must review assessment questions and answers to ensure learners understand what the correct answers are and why they are correct. I discuss problems with how people think they should learn and how they judge their abilities. The good news is there are plenty of ways to improve how we study and learn that are backed by empirical research. A learning environment providing retrieval practice, where the practice is spaced, interleaved, and uses low or no stakes assessments, secures information in our minds for long-term retention. To help you out, here's a checklist for your next steps. If you need to, pause the video to review the checklist and press play when you're ready to continue. Listen to the following question and then pause the video to consider your answer. The question is, what are some things you can implement quickly to help your students learn better and retain what they have studied longer? When you're ready, press play to continue. The answer is you can teach students the study methods discussed in this video. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to pause the video in a moment to check out the recommended sources slide. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at jones.1553@wright.edu. Take care.